Welcome back, everybody, to SPANK'UM Chess. I am B Hood, and today this is another episode of one of the uncut gems or unsung gems in the chess community. And today we're going to be talking about GM Maurice Ashley. Let's get right to it. Maurice Ashley was born on March 6, 1966 in Kingston, Jamaica. He is a pioneering figure in chess. He became the first, recognized as the first African-American Grandmaster in chess history. An achievement that has solidified his position as a trailblazer in the chess world. GM Ashley is not only known for his impressive chess prowess, but also for his engaging personality and dedication to promoting chess among the underrepresented communities. Well, today we're going to be checking out one of his games that he played back in 1993 against a fellow 2,000 plus rated player named Shabalov Alexander. Let's check it out. So the game starts out with Maurice Ashley on the bottom with e4, e6, and this is the start of the French defense and the move d5. This is the normal variation of the French defense. It has been recognized all through the chess community as a solid defense against e4. This is the exchange variation. E captures on d5, E captures on d5, and now c4. Now with this, they call this the Monte Carlo variation. Knight to f6. Knight to c3, okay, and bishop to b4. Now his opponent is pinning the knight that is on c3, and he easily counters that with bishop to d3. He's not even worried about it. He's not capturing the piece. He doesn't want to give his opponent the impetus to capture back with the knight and thereby putting more pressure on the knight to c3. And now his opponent goes c5. Now, as you look, you can see a block of pawns right here. All these pawns are all blocked up right here. They're all blocked up. So there's a fight for the center, maintaining center control. And with it's relatively even. And now in this position, the game could go in either way. So let's see how GM Ashley responds. He responds with knight to e2, knight g to e2, so thereby doubling up, protecting the pawn that's on e4. If need be, if he captures, he can capture back, and it's still going to retain relatively equal. His opponent goes knight to c6. They're both developing pieces, and it's still even. C captures on d5, knight captures on d5, and now the d captures on c5. So now, as you can see, he has that pawn out there. He has an isolated pawn, but that can disrupt any type of b6 movement, because this pawn owns these particular squares. The pawn owns these particular squares, and if bishop were to capture, then a simple castle on the king side, and the game will continue with potentially rook to e1. His opponent goes bishop to g4. Bishop to g4, pinning the knight, looking forward with the fork, but he easily slides out of that with a castle. As his opponent captures the knight on c3, he captures back, and now knight captures on c3, putting a fork on the knight and the queen. He easily slides out of that with queen to c2. Now, as you can see, the center is open. We have reached the middle game. White has a slight advantage, and as you look at the prowess of it, that pawn on c5 is a definite problem. Now, there's nothing for his opponent to some way find his way out of that to gain equality, but it's going to take a few moves for his opponent to gain equality. And the pawn on h7 is under duress. So bishop captures on e2, and now rook to e1. So now the bishop is pinned, and GM Ashley is threatening the knight on c3. Let's see how his opponent responds. Queen to d4. Queen to d4, applying pressure on the pawn that's sitting there on c5, but that's no biggie, because now that gives him the impetus to advance another piece and getting another piece into the game, to get another piece in the game off its original square, and keeping him from castling, keeping his opponent from castling one more move, and this is going to prove important in the game. However, his opponent castles on the queen side. Yes, his rooks are eyeing each other, just as GM Ashley's are eyeing each other. They both have rooks. That are eyeing each other. If you look at it, his queen is sitting in the center of the board, attacking the loose f2 square. double attack or triple attack on the bishop on d3. However, watch how Maurice Ashley slides easily out of the pressure. Boom. Bishop to F5 check. Bishop to F5 check, relieving some of the pressure, and he can also, now the knight on C3 is under attack. So the opponent gets out of the way, and boom, he grabs up the free lolly, knight to C3. So now he is a piece up. The activity of White's pieces are very, very active, and with the pin of the queen, his opponent's G7 pawn is very, very loose. His opponent goes bishop to D3, counterattacking the queen. He easily slides back queen to C1, so the pressure is still on, which buys him another tempo. You never want to lose a tempo on your queen, so his queen is under duress. Now his opponent goes queen to C4, queen to C4. Now the bishop on FU or F5 is under duress. It's not necessarily free. But let's see what he does. Boom. Let's keep up the pressure. Now, when you look at the position here, what GM Ashley is looking at is that he owns a dark square bishop. These squares are hot right now, and both queens are in line. And it'll take a couple moves, but if he could get his light square bishop off that D3 diagonal that's protecting the queen, then he could gain the queen. Let's see. So he goes rook to E4. Rook to E4, counterattacking the queen. So now the queen is still under a lot of pressure. Knight to D4. Now you can look at the complex positions that each other are putting each other in. His opponent is no slouch, but GM Ashley has a very huge advantage. And this is the move here. Boom. Queen to F4. Queen to F4. So now something else is about to drop. There's nothing he can do. He is the only African American or black grandmaster that has been inducted into the Chess Hall of Fame. The only one. And he was the first black American grandmaster. Man, this dude is nice. So queen to F4 check. His opponent goes king to C6, attacking the pawn on C4, and boom. Boom. Bishop captures on D4. So now his opponent is down a piece. What will his opponent do? His opponent goes rook to D5. So he doesn't capture. They're keeping up the pressure. Now this is how these grandmasters think. They think so far down the line, and he was revolutionary in his thinking. Let's go. Boom. Bishop captures on G7. Remember, I told you that. Now he's threatening the rook and he's threatening the queen. His queen is under duress because the rook on E4, the bishop on threatening to capture with the rook sitting on H8. His opponent captures the pawn. On C4, and boom, queen to C1. The queen is lost, and that is the game. His opponent resigned over there. And this was just another game to show you the tactical prowess and savvy of another uncut gem in the chess community and in the chess world. Hi, y'all. So here we go again. Dynamic and tactical game. A3. And now, here we go. Welcome back, everybody, to Spank Chess. I am B.